Hello and welcome to Critic Farms. We're back with another episode of UMRV Upper Mississippi River Valley, and today we are picking back up on trying to finish spreading out some slurry on a few of these fields, and then we're also going to dive into another cutting of our hay. I know we're into the second week of November. It's probably getting to be a bit late for that. However, we really need to get a bit more hay to keep us going here, and we've got some surprises in store for that. But first, I'm going to actually just set off a course play driver here to tackle this field 4. So let me grab all the pieces necessary for that. And it looks like that's going to be a fairly straightforward course here, so let's go ahead and get started. Our start point is in kind of an awkward spot here, but that's all right. I'm not sure this 70% is going to get us through the whole field. However, I didn't think that it was worth it to drive all the way back. If we do need more, we're going to need to drive back anyway, because I plan on using the rest of our slurry out in this field here. And when we go to do that one, I plan to set off with a auto drive course for refilling. So before we get started on this, somebody mentioned that I can change the nitrogen reference value here for different crop types. Now, when I push Y, I'm not seeing anywhere that that's actually showing me what crop type I'm supposed to be referencing when I push Y to change the reference value. It just says auto. Like, I thought I was supposed to be able to change it so that it is targeting like a specific crop, and it'll put on the right amount. For example, if I was doing corn or something, maybe it's only when I put it down that I can change that. Yeah, that doesn't seem to be working, so we're gonna lift this back up. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but I've never been able to get that working. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research on that. But before I do that, we're going to set this guy off to start on the first waypoint this time, as opposed to whatever random spot we were on before. And we'll over-apply a little bit in these areas that I was testing out. That's all right. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. A little bit extra nitrogen. It might have a very small impact on yield, but it'll get used up over time here. And I'm going to have to go play around with this precision farming thing before we get into spreading next year. Because I would love if this was putting on the right amount for the target crop. But I don't know. I've never gotten that working. Regardless, this guy's off and going to do his thing. And the next job we're going to get into is this grass work. Now, I have gone ahead and picked up a grass pickup head here for our forage harvester. And we're going to try and pick up the hay that we're cutting in this field directly into the box and put it into the silos. I did a little bit of real-life research, and I know a lot of you have commented in the comments of the videos that baling is just not really probably the way that a larger dairy would do things. They'd probably be chopping. And so we're going to do that, and that should save us a few steps here, in that this mower with the conditioner is going to essentially output the hay right into a windrow. And then I could pick this windrow up directly. We might actually run a rake over it, though, just to make it easier. And then I'm going to come out here with the forage harvester and pick up hay. Now, before I get a bunch of comments about how hay doesn't work in forage harvesters in Farm Sim 22, I did test that out and discover it. And we have made some modifications to the map in order to allow us to pick up this hay windrow in a forage harvester and have it go into our trailer. It took me a few tries to figure out how to do that, so I might add a a tutorial video on how to do that, because I know there's going to be other people who want to simulate reality and get that working on their own saves. So stay tuned for that. It essentially involved adding dry grass as a new fruit type, and then modifying some of the fill type and fruit type configurations to allow the dry grass to go through a forage harvester. So 100% XML based work. but it took me a few tries to figure out all the different settings. And one of the other things I always seem to get on all of my videos is, hey, where did you get mod XYZ? And I just want to remind everybody that I have all of the mods posted for this series at UMRV in my Discord server in the FS22 mod links channel, I believe it's called. And so if you join my Discord server, which the link to that is in the description of the video, you're going to be able to go ahead and grab all of the mods that I've got here. I always use public mods unless I'm previewing something for a mod author that they plan to release. It's kind of been a thing that I've done on the channel since the beginning. I don't like using private mods that aren't going to be released at some point to the general public. So that's my philosophy, and if you want any of the mods I'm using, jump on Discord and download them. Now I'm noticing that this conditioners are missing the odd strain of grass here and there, and it's leaving these little piles of grass. I don't know how that's going to operate when we're picking things up with the forage harvester. Hopefully we don't run into any problems. And with that, I'm going to, let's think, I was going to say I'm going to jump into a time lapse and cut the rest of this grass real quick, but before we do that, I'd like to make sure that I didn't break anything with all of the XML changes that we've made. So when I get back to the other end of the field here, I'm going to rake up a couple of windrows here into a single pile, make sure everything goes through the tedder fine, and then we're going to pick that up with the forage harvester and just make sure that all of the aspects of the changes I've done are working fine. And I feel like when I'm running over the grass with the mower, it's deleting the grass, so I don't want to do that. I want to be real careful not to run over the windrow there. Alright, I've got the windrower all set up here on the 4440. So let me grab this real quick, and we're just gonna make sure that it works. It'll be an interesting test because I see a little fleck of grass there too that will pick up with this thing. And I'm just doing a little stretch here. I just want to see how well that pickup is going to work on this. I'm not trying to do the whole thing. We'll wait until we're done cutting all the grass first. We've windrowed up a section. Let's hop over into this thing and see if everything is working successfully here. I see hay. All right, hay going into the wagon. Good deal. All right, this is going to work out really well for us, so let's go ahead and just get back up into the yard here. Wow, 7% from just that little stretch. We're going to end up really filling these wagons up quick. We might have to upgrade the wagons or something at some point here. However, we've now tested all of this is working a good deal, and we'll just be dumping the hay into the silos over here. Figure we've got 2 silos visually, so the fact that we've got corn silage being made here in the one, and we can put hay in the other side here, and yeah, I did test putting hay in here, works just fine. We'll be in a good spot, so that's going to be the plan for sure. And with that going, I just wanted to come back over here, make sure that we're going on this nitrogen. Everything looks good. I really wish I could figure out how that automated rate stuff works better here. I'm going to have to go find some videos because I've not ever been able to get it working, and I know people keep telling me to use that setting. We're overlapping so much here, we're really over-applying in sections of this field, I'm worried. Well, it looks like we might actually finish this field despite all of the over-applying, so that's good. I'll let it keep going, and we'll jump back over here into the mower and get this field knocked out right quick here. right, well that was almost a half an hour of cutting this field here. Well, that's all right. We've got lots of hay available now. We're definitely going to want to rake this all up though, I think, because it's going to go a lot faster with picking things up with the forage harvester. I think that rake actually runs pretty quick. So that's the plan. However, before I jump into all of that, we're going to be driving around like a crazy man here. We're going to be going out and getting that manure spreader set up in such a way that hopefully we can start spreading on this bigger field here. We did manage to finish up and have some left over a little bit, 10%, not too bad. So if I just look here, I do have a point for field 3 set up, which is going to be useful for auto drive to handle the unloading. So what we're going to do is drive up to the yard here, and I'm going to see if I can figure out how to create a reversing auto drive course. I'm not sure about this. It could end up being an extremely painful experiment, but you never know until you try. The first thing I am going to have to fix, though, is getting a course into the yard here. So let me just spin around here and grab this one to this one. There we go. And the other thing that we need to do is create a course to actually get down to the slurry pit, which I think is going to be me coming in this driveway here. And I believe what I need to do is have the course come up somewhere around here. And what I'm worried about is that as I start trying to create a reversing course, I'm going to hit these fences and not have enough room to actually reverse into here. So the first thing I need to do, though, is auto drive, and having a trailer hooked up to you isn't a great solution for creating the actual reversing course, because I'm going to be going all over trying to get the trailer in. So let me drop my trailer off, and then let me come up to an appropriate point here. And then with my tractor in position here, I'm going to do right shift to create a reversing road. So if I hold right shift and click record, I think that's going to do this. And it is a different color here, so let me just get my tractor back to where I need it to be. Doing this with an articulated tractor was probably a mistake. It's making our course very janky. We're probably going to be able to get into here if I can clean up our course a little bit. I don't know for sure, though. I'm going to bring this all the way back to here and add slurry pits. Stop recording. Alright, it's a little wibbly wobbly, but it's not the worst course I've ever created. Let's just move these points around a little bit. Make it so I'm not crashing into this curb over here. Alright, let's see here now. I've got a course, and it looks like it might work. So we're going to grab this trailer, and then I'm going to finish creating the forward-facing course. I'm not sure exactly where we're taking it, but we'll get it back out of the yard here. Now this, I think we're going to just sneak around on the grass for the time being. We don't really have a great path out of here. Probably not ideal to drive through the pasture with this whole setup, but it's the easiest thing to do right now to see if it's going to work. In fact, why don't I drive it right here? I can put a fuel tank stop point in at some point. And then I got to get this out of the way, and I'll hook up the final point. So this is, I'm going to go to field 3 when I'm done. I'm going to go to the slurry pits to get slurry. And I'm going to back this guy up and put him on the path pointing the right way and see if auto drive will do its thing. There it is. It's finding a path. Oh, I'm going to be so excited if this actually works. So excited. I could probably have smoothed this corner out a little bit, but we'll live with it for now. I could probably center this path in the road, but I was trying to swing wide to my right so that we get the trailer in the appropriate spot. Oh, this node is... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hang on. Why is that node like it is? That needs to go away. And this needs to be like that. Alright, let me try this. Oh yeah, I don't go nearly far enough forward before I start backing up, do I? Okay, hang on. I'm going to try and have it start the backing up course way up there. So let me back up the path here a little bit. Oh my gosh. Articulated tractors and I not getting along. I would expect the tractor to go all the way up to that front point, but it didn't quite do it. However, is this going to be able to handle it? It looks like auto drive doesn't back up very well with articulated tractors either. I wonder if this would work better with a non-articulated tractor. Alright, I have gone ahead and switched over to the other tractor here just to see if a non-articulated tractor is going to handle this a little bit better. We're not exactly on the course here, but let's see what it does. Yeah, it's hitting the fence. That's the problem for sure. If I can delete this fence right here on this side. Also, oh, I can delete this fence. Well, I'm gonna delete a couple pieces of it there. Just to see if this is gonna work out. Not the most eloquent backing up job I've ever seen, but if it works, it works. And it's filling up. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. We've done it, folks. I think we've done it. Oh, it looks like I ran out of slurry, though. Let me see real quick if I add another point here for slurry pit front. Change this to slurry pit front. I'm just gonna pull ahead of it and let it do its thing just to make sure that would actually work. Something like this. Oh, really? You're gonna go all the way around? Alright, the moment of truth here. We've got a new slurry pit front point set up, and we're gonna see if I can have it back into that point as well and finish topping off our spreader here. I have to say it's incredibly slow around the farmyard here, this tractor, but if it works, it works. I'm not going to complain. I think this two-tracked tractor is actually going to be the best machine for backing things up and getting it aligned, just because it can turn on a dime, quite literally, and kind of navigate ourselves around all of the headaches in the yard. Looks like it's able to find the dump trigger. The question is, can it get back on the course to head back to field 3 without running into anything? It looks like it's trying to back up a bit more here still. You have to say, I think this is turning into a failed experiment, folks. So we're going to go ahead and tell it to move on. See if it's able to figure out how to get back out to the field. We might just have to babysit this, use it to help us get here, and then we'll do the rest. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed with myself. I got it working, more or less. The yard is just not set up very well for doing what we're trying to do with this big of equipment. So I'm going to just call this a day, and we'll figure out how to automate this at some other point in time. we might as well go ahead and just get this guy going. We've got a course play course set up here. We're going to do 6 headland passes and see how far we get with this slurry. Now, I am going to leave the auto drive thing on here. I'm going to turn this on. Oh, do I need to? Well, let me get going on the straight row here, and then I'm going to adjust this. I forgot to turn on the auto drive reload bit. So if I turn that on, hit this, it should start course play as destination. So it should, I don't know. I thought this would be lit up if the auto drive part was working, but maybe this only lights up when it uses the auto drive part. I do have the course play button pushed here. And so as soon as we get done or we run out, I think it's going to pick up auto drive. And the reason that I've turned this on, even though the course isn't exactly working yet, is that that's going to allow it to at least drive back over here and start refilling, and then I can jump in and get involved to fix it when it gets stuck. That'll be a little bit better than having to do it all manually. So we'll let this guy go and do its thing, which leaves us free to jump over here into the rake and rake some of this hay up. I do want to get at least a couple full loads into our silo there, our harvest store, to make sure that everything's working good here. And I'm really just curious mostly to see how far a forage box is going to go here on picking up all of this hay. How many trips am I going to have to make for this field? That kind of thinking. So let's get this down into 7th gear where it runs a little bit better. And we'll take one trip around the headlands here. That's going to be more than enough to test out our theory and see how much, how far we're going to get per box. I think we're going to get just an absolute ton of hay. Tons and tons of hay, I should say. Because we will be able to switch unit convert over to show us how many tons we're getting, which I'm really curious to see. Alright, I'm back up here on the other end of the field. We're going to just shut this rake down right here. Alright, we're going to jump into the forage harvester here now and give this a shot. See how this works out for us. Everything seems to be working. And it helps if we can drive over the windrow. I wonder if I go in cab if this would be a little bit easier. There we go. That's not too bad at all. I don't think I've been in cab on this thing. It's actually got a really nice interior. The pickup on this is pretty narrow though, so I've got to pay attention, keep it focused down the middle of the windrow. And we're getting quite a bit of hay here, 30% already in the forage box there. This is going to add up very quickly. I'm not going to make it around a whole headland pass, that's for sure. I am curious to see how far I make it though. We're at, what is that, 46%. Man, we're going to end up right down here in the corner, and we'll probably be getting about full. That's alright. And I've got it in yards. Let's switch over to tons. This is 1.6 tons of hay. And our course play worker looks like it got blocked over there on some trees or something on the outside of the field. I don't know what's going on with that guy. That's the second time he's gotten blocked. Man, this hill is a little scary. We're a little tippy on some parts of this, I feel like. Gotta really watch where we're going. Hopefully we don't get caught on any of these trees. My forage harvester is quite a bit taller than the mower is. And almost 90% here. The box is, oh yeah, the box is, whoa, looking kind of full. We're missing bits in the corner here. We'd probably be full right about now had I not missed all of that, but my estimate of getting full right down in here at the corner by the water seems to be accurate. That's alright. Now, realistically, I'd probably have another tractor come down here and bring a new wagon and take this one away, but because we're just curious at the moment, I'm going to run this thing all the way back up to the silos hooked up to the forage harvester here and see how much this puts a dent in our silo storage capacity. since I don't have any good way to do a conversion from tons to liters off the top of my head. We'll see what 2.6 tons does for filling up the harvester here. We definitely wouldn't do it this way in the long run because this thing is so slow at 15 miles an hour. The tractor could get over here almost twice as fast. Oh, and realistically, I wouldn't be able to unload this thing with the forage harvester anyway, because I don't have a PTO on the forage harvester. So we won't be doing it this way next time. This is mostly just a test because we've done so many things here in this episode to make this even work at all. So don't worry, we'll be back to trying to do this a little bit more realistically in the next episode. If I just come in here and look, I am seeing the hay start to stack up here. Well, that's good. It's barely registering yet, and actually looking at this, if that's 385 tons, I bet this is maybe a 500-ton storage or close to it total. So we're going to have plenty of room for hay in here. Well, while this is unloading, let me go and figure out what's the matter with our horseplay driver here. Nothing. I don't know what he could possibly think that he's stuck on. Probably the crops? I don't know. I just don't even know. So I will just help him around this turn. Get back on the field. We did do 6 headland passes on this field instead of the 4 I'd been doing because we have a lot of trees on the other end there, and I was worried about him getting stuck on stuff. So hopefully this whole thing figures itself out a little bit better as we get going on the up-down rows. Now, the automatic amounts here are only applying 60 kilograms nitrogen per hectare, which is fine by me. It means we won't be over applying as much on this field like we did on some of the other fields, and so I'm quite happy to let him go and do his thing here. It doesn't look like we're burning through the slurry overly quick at this rate either. So here's the moment of truth. We're getting to the end of the first round. Can it pick up the second round on its own? It looks like no. Looks like I'm trying to turn and getting caught on the tongue here, and then we get stuck. So let's go get our other tractor now that we're not relying on it to back up anymore. I think this tractor was actually doing so much better of a job with the slurry spreader. But yeah, so we're going to be kind of continuing on with some of this stuff. We've burned through most of a day here. It's already... what is that, 3 p.m. on the day, second week of November here. Our forage harvester's done unloading into the silo system. We've gotten another field of slurry spread, and I don't think we've got enough slurry to do this whole field, but we're going to put on as much as we can just to offset our input costs. I know people in the comments have said that it's much more time efficient and price efficient to just sell the slurry for money and then put on normal fertilizers on the field. And from a farm sim perspective, I'd agree with you. From a real life perspective, most people are spreading the slurry on their fields. It makes much more sense realistically to do that. And so I'm gonna just do that and see if we can continue to be somewhat realistic. We may come up with a different thought on all of this at some point in the future. But for the time being, that's my plan. We're going to keep going with the slurry because we've got it and it makes sense. And honestly, the machines are fun to drive. So we've got all of those things to consider. I'm going to see if I can copy and paste this course. Even though I've disconnected the implement, it looks like I can. So, boom, there we go. Nearest waypoint. Let me back this thing up a little ways. I don't want to redo the first waypoint, so backing up isn't actually working here for me. I'm going to spin around and jump back into that same track for a second. Like so. Nearest, start. Do your thing. Yeah, this thing seems to work a lot better when turning with this big tanker. So let me go ahead and turn that mode on in the hopes that it can drive over there. And wada bing, wada boom, we're off to the races. All right, well, with all of that wrapped up here, I think we've done a lot of miscellaneous today. This is going to be a great place to wrap up today's episode. And hopefully I'm going to be able to make sense of this when we try to edit this video. We've done a lot of different jobs, and I think this has turned into a bit of a lengthy episode. That's all right. This is all important stuff, and we're getting close to being done with all of the things we need to do in fall here. I'll probably keep going on some of the manure spreading and the raking on this grass field, and then we'll jump back in here next episode and wrap up all of the hay chopping, and we're going to turn those two into fields so that come spring we've got grass growing out there in actual fields so that I can use course play moving forward on this. I just didn't want to start with that today because I'm worried we don't have enough hay to get to our first cutting of grass next year if I have to replant these from scratch. So I wanted to get at least one more field of hay off and into the silo to use for feeding these cows, because the cows are keeping the farm afloat right now. I'm only going to cut this field. We're not going to bother cutting the other field behind the house. I think we'll have enough between the bales we've got in the shed and this field to get the cows through the winter and into spring when we get our first cutting of hay off of both of these fields. Hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, hit that like button, helps me out a lot. That's all for today. Kedrick out.